Hi everybody. In today's episode, in this episode, we are deburring all of the skins. Our top skins, sorry, plus the new fangled custom doublers. And then we're going to be working on actually doing the stiffeners for these doublers. So let's just get past the deburring part. Actually, we're just deburring the holes. You can see I'm doing it for the new doublers there. And then I will be deburring both skins. In the last wing, we had the skins kind of laid down flat on a table. You can't really deburr them that way because the tip of the deburr bit will just hit the table underneath and you don't get a real deburr. So I found the best way to do it is just to have it actually attached still to the ribs. I mean, now, there's holes underneath, the ribs are lined up, everything is good, and plus you don't have to worry about having to stretch across the table. It's just right there in front of you like a big canvas. So anyway, what we do is we do one side, and I've got the drill bit attached to, or I should say I have my deburr bit attached to my drill, set on speed 1. There's 2 speeds on these cordless drills, 1 and 2. They use the same amount of power. It's just with 1, basically it's a lower gear. It's like a transmission. You use the same amount of power. And the only problem with this, the only downside with deburring this way is that that engine, the motor in that drill gets hot because you're basically just clicking the trigger for like half a second. So you turn on, off, on, off, on, off, and each time you do that, you push a lot of power through a bunch of capacitors, and it starts to get warm. So hopefully it doesn't destroy the drill. Then you just simply turn the skin around, rehang it, and everything works. So I'm doing both of those. So on to the important part, which is the custom doublers. So as mentioned before, I don't like the idea of someone getting into my plane, walking up onto the wing, and stepping off of the wing walk area and then putting a big old dent, right on the top of the wing. And outside of rib number 4, there's nothing really there, unless someone just happens to step on rib number 5, which is doubtful. Eventually someone will put their foot where it doesn't belong. So what I did was I took the doublers and I've designed the new doubler system, which I have talked about ad nauseum in the last couple of videos. So the doublers are made. The problem is the extra material between rib 4 and 5 still doesn't actually stop anything. Just having 2 pieces of metal on top of each other, while nice, in this case doesn't actually stop the metal from bending. So what I've done is I took my leave from the lower skins of the fuel tanks. So when you're making the fuel tanks, there's a J channel on top, just like the rib, just like the wings, just like the leading edge. But on the bottom, you put a bunch of stiffeners in between the ribs. So I've kind of taken my inspiration from that. What I've done is divided the new wing walk doublers, the area between rib 4 and 5, and I've dissected it into thirds. I basically just drawn a line, 2 lines on each one of them, dissecting it into thirds. The idea behind that is when all of the doublers, or should I say when the stiffeners are now on the doublers, and they're perpendicular to the ribs, they will be able to keep anyone from being able to dent that skin. And the reason I use 2 per doubler is once they're on, for 2 reasons. One, it closely matches the widths between the first and the 4th rib. So you got 4 ribs right there, and they're all about 3 inches apart. They're 3.5 or something like that, and that's what these wind up being. But more importantly, from the front flange all the way to the rear spar, there are now 7 perpendicular supports for stress between the 4th and the 5th rib. So basically you've got 2 stiffeners per doubler, and you've got the main J channel that goes in between, so that's 5, and then you've got the rear spar and the front spar that the main skin rests on, and that makes 7 support areas. And with 2 stiffeners per doubler, it basically makes the area between, or the length between each of those 7 stiffeners equal. So what I basically, and as you can see right here, I've used leftover J channel that I had from the other wing and this wing to make pieces that rest in between the ribs. They don't actually touch the ribs, just kind of like with those wing tanks. You know, they come close to the ribs but not touch. And I've used the rivet pattern for the J channel, main J channel, as the kind of rivet spacer for the J channels that are going to be the stiffeners on these doublers. So what I do is first I drilled the holes in the J channel for in the stiffeners. Then I draw a line. I drew the lines across the doublers where the stiffeners are going to go. I go around to the back, so I Cleco it on, as you can see here. I go around back. I lay the pre-drilled holes along that line that I've drawn, and I space it out so that it's an equal distance between both ribs. You know, with maybe like a less than 1/4 of an inch on each side. I then start to match drill and Cleco them in place, just like we've done for many other pieces. And then after all of those have been done, then what I did, and you'll see this in the next video, is I actually then put the doublers on, and I put the inboard top skin on top of that, and then I go and I match drill the stiffeners, the doublers, and the top skin, right? I mean, you've got doublers down here, and they attach to the top skin as well, so there's no reason why these stiffeners shouldn't as well. And having tested it out with Clecos, let me tell you, it is very stiff. I mean, I could easily put the wing walk all the way out to the 5th rib. I'm not going to, because I don't want people to just blatantly step on it. But when people wind up stepping off of the wing walk, I'm assured that there won't be any issues, so I'm very happy with that. And anyway, so in the next video, you'll see me actually doing the drilling. Right now, I'm just kind of marking and templating and all, but yeah. In the next video, we'll be drilling it out, so I'll see you soon.